Story 1. I have a friend who does this. He sometimes sends me clips of things people say after they have left. I try not to go to his house. Story 2. My brother-in-law has cameras in the living room, kitchen, hallway, and master bedroom because he is very paranoid. My sister-in-law has cameras in her living room because she cared for her grandmother for years and used the cameras to monitor her grandmother when she was not in the room with her. Story 3. Sometimes I hear a bump in the night and want to check if it is the cat knocking something over or a burglar without having to get out of bed. Story 4. I have one but only turn it on when I am away, not when anyone is home. If someone robs my house, I want a good picture of them, and it helps with the insurance claim. I also have cameras outside each door to the house. I got them because we lived somewhere else for 6 months and had major construction work with many people coming and going. I did not see a reason to remove them. They turn on at night on a schedule and turn off in the morning. Story 5. The only way I would install security cameras in or around my house is if the system used on-site storage and very secure remote access. None of that cloud-based, plug-and-play Ring camera business. A third-party company would have access to cameras in your home, own the data, and could sell it to media outlets, the police, artificial intelligence farms, or others. Insane. Story 6. I work at home. My ex wanted a camera in my office under the idea that she could use it to communicate with me like an intercom. It sounded sweet in a way, but I quickly realized it was just so she could watch me all day because she was paranoid I was talking to other women. She would often come over the intercom, asking me what I was hiding. Also, talking to a camera like that, where someone can see you but you can't see them, is unpleasant. Outside of that, I like home automation and experimented with cameras as part of the automation. Really neat stuff. I wanted to make the system play my music in whatever room I walked into or display artwork on the digital wall paintings. The X happened, though, and it made me rethink having cameras inside the home and how that might make people feel. It doesn't matter if I never looked at those cameras. The perception was still there. Story 7. I have a camera in my living room. It was originally intended to monitor the back door, which did not have an outdoor camera. However, it ended up showing me that my son's nanny was being very hostile toward him and threatening abuse. The camera became very useful and will remain in place. Anyone with a problem does not need to be in that space. Story 8. Security while away and pointed at a thermometer so I can see if the furnace is still working without having to spend on a smart thermostat. I already have a programmable thermostat. Story 9. Yes, we have cameras in our living rooms. Primarily, we got them to keep an eye on our dogs. I turn off notifications and only check the cameras if necessary. Story 10. Yes. My parents have one and my unusual boss does. My boss has many in his house and has them linked to his phone, so it rings every time someone is in the room. Keep in mind, his wife works from home and he has 4 children. I swear it goes off more than 10 times in a meeting. I am not sure about the obsession with it, but he is a creep anyway. My parents are also control freaks when it comes to my 16-year-old sister. They were that way with me, but it is even stranger watching them act that way toward my sister. I guess the tracking application is not enough. Story 11. I know someone whose elderly mother lives with them, and they check on her if they are out for her safety. Story 12. Years ago, someone posted a link in a comment section here on Reddit that was just a plain web page with hundreds or thousands of internet protocol addresses. Every link was an unsecured security system where people had not set a password. You could just click any of the links and look inside someone's house. Story 13. I know my sister-in-law has set up internal cameras for my mother-in-law because she has dementia and likes to wander. We have external security cameras, and we had an internal one set up to monitor our cat when we were out of the house, which used to be quite amusing. Story 14. I do not know if it is true, but I found this. Living room camera use. Among smart home security camera users in the United States, 61% have installed cameras in their living room, making it the second most common location after the front door, which has 68%. Story 15. Everyone I know has them for pets and kids, with occasional hired caregivers looking after them. I find it incredibly creepy, though. I once slept on a friend's sofa, and they didn't tell me their dog camera was recording me the entire time until afterward. Do not spy on your kids' privacy unless they are literally a baby. Story 16. I'm sure sometimes there is a nefarious reason for it, but I think mostly people just have it there to keep an eye on their pets when they are out of town. I do think that they should be taken down when you have visitors. Leaving them up all the time, even if they are not on or not recording, can be discomforting for guests to see. You definitely need to take them down if you ever rent out your home on Airbnb. Otherwise, you are likely to get many complaints and possibly even legal problems. Story 17. We have one so we can see what the children are doing while we are in the kitchen. It is handy when you are alone and need to cook, but also have a toddler who likes to climb on the back of the sofa. Story 18. I have cameras in all the common areas of my house, excluding bedrooms and bathrooms. They also cover the exterior. All cameras are hardwired and recorded to a central unit that does not have internet capabilities. The system stores about 1 year of recordings before overwriting. I have these cameras because my insurance policies cover art, jewelry, guns, and some collections totaling approximately $2 million. The art and collections cannot be traced by serial numbers and are a common target for insurance fraud. My insurance policy is significantly cheaper because I can demonstrate that I was indeed robbed if anything goes missing. To date, I have used the cameras mainly to track down wallets and keys. The system paid for itself when I used recordings of myself cooking dinner alone to provide an alibi after my ex-partner accused me of sexual assault. The camera system is 100% worth it. Story 19. The media and social media true crime content has conditioned many people to be excessively paranoid. I believe this is manufactured hysteria designed so companies can monitor people's daily lives and use that information for marketing. For example, Amazon likely knows that people who buy into this hysteria are unlikely to set up a complicated closed surveillance system and will opt for the easiest option to install, such as Amazon's own security cameras. Story 20. Ring and Nest will both provide video of your home, inside and outside, to law enforcement without asking or notifying you. Yes, cute dog videos are entertaining, but it is not worth sacrificing your privacy for that. Story 21. I have one camera pointed at the front door of our apartment. My wife and I both agreed to get this, as the landlord told us before we moved in that the previous tenant still had keys to the apartment. After living here, we stopped trusting the landlord because she always tried to take money from us and it was very difficult to get her to repair things in the apartment. On the day we were to move in and pay her the deposit last month and prorated first month, she pretended she did not know that we had agreed to a prorated first month beforehand and wanted money for a full month. We moved in on the 13th and had agreed to this beforehand. I had to call the real estate agent to help clear things up. There was no hot water for the first 2 weeks after we moved in. The dishwasher did not work. Leaks came from the ceiling in the bathroom. The air conditioning stopped working for a while. The washing machine would stop working every time we used it, shutting off both the fridge and washing machine, and required flipping the breaker switch throughout the day to run a load. The belt in the dryer snapped and stopped working. The landlord always tried to gaslight us as if we were making things up or trying to sabotage the apartment every time I politely explained when something was not working. I am now very familiar with my rights as a renter, how to formally request repairs in writing, what an escrow account is, and more. We do not trust that lady to not come in on a day we are out of town and take things. Story 22. I live alone and work away from home for extended periods. I have a camera inside to detect movement in case something happens while I am away. Story 23. They are pet cameras for everyone I know. Sometimes we move one to the workshop to monitor the three-dimensional printer or other automated processes. Ours are visible and prominently labeled with googly eyes. We are not trying to spy on any unsuspecting visitors. Story 24. My sister has a device to capture her seizures. I would have one if I had children. I have considered one to monitor my dogs, but I highly suspect they are very boring when I am not home. Story 25. I am a single mother with a preteen child. Her father and I share custody. She has a spare key and sometimes leaves things at my house because she is a ballet dancer and occasionally needs something for class at the last minute. I trust her, but I do not trust her father. He has stolen items from my underwear drawer before. If he ever drops her by the house when I am not there, I can tell if he went inside or not. He knows he is not allowed to enter my house. Story 26. I have two cameras. One is in the front room to monitor my pets when I am not around. The other is in my kitten foster room for the same reason. Story 27. Cover your actions when multiple unfounded child abuse claims have been made by your children's mother, resulting in multiple Child Protective Services investigations, all of which found no evidence. Story 28. No, most of these are installed for the explicit purpose of capturing something spooky for internet points. My favorite ones are the cameras pointed at kitchen cabinets for no other reason than to catch them opening by themselves mysteriously. Story 29. Some people experience this due to harmful behavior from one child to another, which they are working on managing. Story 30. I like to check on our cats while we are at work. We do not have them in bedrooms, only in common areas. Story 31. I have them all over. One in the living room rotates around, one in the closet with the septic pump, one in the room with the cat's litter boxes, and a few outside in the garage and other places. The living room one does not record. It is just there to check on the pets while I am away or during the night to see if the thumping sound is them beating each other or someone breaking in. The one monitoring the pump records on sound. It is there to ensure nothing is breaking or leaking, mostly when I am away. If it runs too long and I get many notifications, I can cut the power to the pump, then either hurry home or call someone to take a look. The outdoor ones all record and notify. The one for the litter boxes also records but is less for security and more for tracking how often the cats use the boxes. If one of them goes to the box more often than the other, it is usually a sign something is wrong. Story 32. I know one person who has a camera in their living room and says it is for watching their dog when they are at work, but I find that creepy. The only camera I have active in my house is in a crawl space, and I put it there because I thought I heard a mouse once. I had a camera in my old house, but it was in my attic because I thought I heard a ghost. But places where authorized people live. Now, Story 33. We have one in the house. The only time we have used it is when we are gone for extended periods, just to keep a watch on the place and our cats. Story 34. I moved our Ring camera to the living room for one night so I could get big, full table pictures of us playing board games. Then I moved it right back to the front door. It is too creepy to put cameras in your house. Story 35. We put some cameras inside when we went on vacation to check on the animals. Then we left them in place, but we do move them around to view different areas of the house. Story 36. We have it in all our living areas except bedrooms and bathrooms for obvious reasons. We use it to keep an eye on the dog while we're out. He has a doggy door to come in and out as he pleases, but I still like to monitor him. The only time it has been used for non-dog related reasons was when our nephew stayed with us for 2 weeks a couple of years ago. He accused his grandmother of hitting him. Bear in mind, she had just come out of the hospital with a broken hip and was on crutches. He tried pushing her over, knowing it could likely be fatal due to her frail condition. She said she had to poke him back with a crutch. He stayed with us until his grandfather returned from working abroad. He was here on the condition that common areas were recorded and my husband was in the room at all times, as I did not trust him. I still do not trust him now, and he is not allowed to be left alone with me, our dog, or our future child. Story 37. We have one in our living room. The reason is we have in-home caregivers for my young daughter, so having people in and out of the house helped keep everyone at ease. Story 38. Yes, some are paranoid people and some really care about what is happening. It can really be a savior, for example, when dealing with insurance after being raided or robbed and losing belongings. It is also helpful for keeping an eye on elderly people, dogs, or children when they are alone or with a caregiver. Story 39. The only time we did this was when the neighbor's high school-aged kid was walking our dog after he got out of school at lunchtime. He had the keys to our house, and I wanted to make sure he was not going upstairs. Our valuables were already locked in the safe. It worked out well. Story 40. I am concerned about the security of devices. I am always surprised by people doing that. However, I have smart devices with microphones all around, so I am sure people say the same thing about that, but I do not worry about it. Story 41. Yes. In my homestead, we have cameras in all rooms with multiple angles. We want to catch any spirits that might try to creep up on us. Story 42. I have security cameras in my living spaces to watch my cats and make sure my partner turned off all the lights without having to go downstairs to check. Story 43. I have cameras in multiple rooms. I'm older and forgetful. It's nice to be able to log into a camera and scroll back to see if I fed the dogs so I don't feed them twice. Also, I like to know how I sleep at night. If I wake up really tired, I check if my dogs did something that woke me up. Other than that, my significant other can log in and see the dogs when she's away. I know if I get motion alarms in certain rooms while I'm away that I need to call the police. Story 44. We have cameras installed so that we can check on our parrot during the day and our children at night. I appreciate having the extra level of care I can provide. If my parrot needs changes to her environment, I can respond. If my children are distressed or misbehaving, I can address it. Our house is large enough that we cannot hear those rooms otherwise. Story 45. I installed one after I had a break-in. It would have helped a lot in catching the intruder. Edit. It is a do-it-yourself system. I would not trust one I did not have complete control over. Story 46. I have someone to watch my pets while I am at work. Now my dog comes with me to work, but I still check on the cat. It is handy for bumps in the night too. Am I about to be harmed? Or did the cat knock the vase off again? Story 47. I set one up when we are traveling. It is a motion detection camera using an old iPod Touch, placed in the kitchen and facing the back door. This is in addition to exterior Ring cameras. Story 48. We have cameras in our house but not in the bedrooms for safety when we are away for a longer period. Story 49. I have one in my living room and my bedroom for several reasons. If someone attempts to break in, I want all of their actions recorded on video. Forced entry, rummaging through the house, and anything else they do. Depending on where I am in the house, I want their aggressive behavior to be shown if directed at me, especially at night when they come upstairs to my bedroom looking for me. I also enjoy seeing my dog's reactions when I get home. They always lie on my bed while I'm gone, but I pull up the camera when I'm about 5 minutes away. They may be snoozing comfortably, but when I open the garage door and they hear it, they jump up and start barking because they know I'm home. When I walk in, I'm greeted by wagging tails and wet noses. Story 50. I have 12 cameras outside my house and 4 inside. There is no audio, just video. The cameras cover the living room, stairs, front door, and garage. We used to foster and then adopted 3 children from a difficult family who live 15 minutes from us. I also installed some cameras in my father's house. He is 86 and lives alone. He won't accept any help. I check the cameras when he does not answer his phone. Story 51. I added 2 indoor cameras, one in the kitchen and one in the living room, to my existing system. This helped me identify which of my 2 dogs was countersurfing. Story 52. I call them pet cameras. I am often away for 24 hours. My cat is 17 years old and frail. My chinchillas do not tolerate heat. I have a camera on the chinchilla cage that shows a large thermometer and the vents on their air conditioning. Cameras monitor the cat's food dishes in 2 spots and where he sleeps. There is also one in the kitchen that shows the refrigerator thermometer. I used to manage a gas station and frequently had to review video footage, so I became accustomed to being on camera. Story 53. My friend's husband installed a device in the living room, and it annoys me when I am there because he can not only watch but also listen to our conversations while he is at work. He is very controlling and possessive. Story 54. I have one in my work-from-home office. It is mounted on a flatbed car that my Lego train pushes through my Lego city I have on a shelf all around the office. Story 55. When you have stepchildren who lie, steal, and start trouble that could put you in jail, yes, they are. Every inch of my house, except the bathroom and the children's bedrooms, is covered by cameras. I am not going through that again. Story 56. My friend has a couple of cameras in his house. He uses them to monitor his dogs and ensure his children get ready for school in the morning. Story 57. In most cases, those cameras are set up for pets. The number of times I have had to yell at my dog to stop chewing on things through the camera is ridiculous. Story 58. We have one in the living room. We call it the cat camera, but it also points directly at the back door and windows. Story 59. My mom has them around outside, in the living room and in the kitchen. I think she used to look at them, but not much anymore. A couple of my brothers had a bad addiction, so it was useful at the time to monitor the exit doors for whatever suspicious activities they were doing. Glad we are mostly past that. Story 60. I have cameras stationed throughout the house to track my pets while I am away. I would rather watch their activity than television. Story 61. I have one facing the front door. It is surprising that people have them in their bedrooms. There are websites where anyone can watch people in their homes because they did not protect the connection. Story 62. I have cameras in my living room and upstairs that show the family room and dining room. I live alone, so I use them to see what my dog is doing and as a sense of security when I am not home or hear a noise at night when I am in bed. They have also captured hilarious moments when my friends and family are over. Once, I had a girl over and did not realize until afterwards that I technically had her nude images. I am not sure what the legal ramifications would be, but I deleted the footage. Story 63. They are helpful. Dog barking at 2 a.m. for no apparent reason. Dog camera. 7-year-old awake or sleeping. Kid camera. Kids playing in the basement. Kid camera number 2. Kids playing in the playroom. Kid camera number 3. Who is ringing my doorbell? Ring. I was hesitant to get them all. I started with a ring, then saw how useful they can be and got the rest. Story 64. I have one camera for my living room and one that points at my back door. They are mostly for when we are on vacation, but we also use them for when we are asleep at night on a different floor. I also have a ring camera at the front door to ignore door-to-door salespeople. Watch when my kids come in and out of the house, especially when I'm not there, and monitor and track packages. Why? Because people can be unreliable. If that makes me paranoid, so be it. I have received that statement from my parents, but they are the ones who never shut their garage door or lock their front door. They think nothing bad will ever happen. Story 65. Mine are off most of the time. They are there to keep an eye on my cats and monitor their activities, ensuring the automatic feeder operates correctly. We usually turn it on when we are gone for more than a day. I also use it to keep an eye on valuable electronics and other items. It is pointed toward the door, and I receive notifications if a person is detected. When the cats lounge on the cat tree, it is very cute, and I want everyone to see. Story 66. I would wake up at night terrified, too scared to go back to sleep and too scared to check the noise. The cameras allowed me to check on my phone to see that no one was in the house. I stopped using them when my son moved back home. I had them set to activate only on demand. Story 67. They allow us to capture cute moments with our 2.5-year-old and 6-month-old without having to stick a camera in their face or try to force the moment. It also provides added security and safety by being able to check on things in the house, especially for those of us with pets. I would be willing to answer any questions, as I know that preferring cameras inside the house is not comfortable for most people. Story 68. It's for people with something to lose, like high-value items or cherished family members. It has helped solve several crimes where the resident was not alive or present to tell the story when police reviewed the cloud footage. It helped me catch the electricians entering a room they shouldn't have, and someone was fired that day. It is also useful for watching pets when away. It is very reassuring to have a visual when you would normally only wonder what is going on, whether the couch is still in one piece, if they are climbing on the drapes, or eating the HDMI cable again. Some cameras let you talk through them, which is advantageous not only to stop a pet from causing destruction but also to enjoy watching their reaction. Story 69. I have USB-powered wireless cameras that go in those rooms only when my significant other and I are on vacation. I don't care how secure they are or are not. It is worth the risk to be able to check on pets and see that the house has not burned down. Story 70. I would like to have one to catch accidents on camera so I can laugh at them later and show them to people. Story 71. You get them when you are leaving your teenagers alone for the week while you are on vacation, and you vividly remember what you got up to when mom and dad were gone for the week and you were 17 and bored. Or you are out for the day and you need to find out how Fido and Muffin are doing left alone in the house. Story 72. I have just one sensor in the kitchen, and I only use it to check on my dog. Honestly, I cannot remember the last time I even checked it. Other than that, I am not sure why I need to check my empty house when we are not home. It is not even set up for motion activation. Story 73. Yes, but pointing out the window, not pointing into the room. Unless you live alone, then it is not so bad. Story 74. We bought an inexpensive camera years ago, but felt uncomfortable placing it inside the house. We ended up installing it in the garage to double-check that the garage door was closed. Recently, we purchased a new camera when we adopted a cat so we could monitor it. We kept the camera in a separate room until our other cat got used to it. We turned the camera off when we were in the room. Story 75. In my old home, I had one in a box room I used as an office that looked out a window that opened onto the flat roof of our ground floor extension. It was set for motion detection along with the outside cameras. Story 76. I want one in my bedroom, but only because I share an apartment and I do not want people going into my room and digging into my belongings. I keep thinking about turning it on with a smart plug when I am out. This way, I would be notified if someone walks in. Alternatively, a door sensor would also work. Story 77. My wife has them all over the house, mostly because she is deaf. When the dogs alert her to a noise, she can check and see what is going on. Story 78. I have a security camera in my living room. I live alone and have many health issues, so my parents worry a lot. Now they have access to the camera so they can check on me without invading my space. Story 79. I have a friend who has them and can't live in a place without it. However, this started because one night while he and his wife were in the house and sleeping around 3 a.m., they heard noises downstairs. They had no idea what it was. They had cameras outside in the front yard and backyard but didn't see anything. My friend grabbed a bat and went downstairs, only to see a masked man ruffling through his kitchen and living room drawers and running away when my friend came down. This terrified him because he didn't know if the man was armed or not. Thinking it could happen again at any time, he set up cameras inside so he could monitor the situation if it happened again. Story 80. Security camera in our living room came bundled with a set of outdoor cameras. It works great for monitoring the dog while we are gone for a few hours. Story 81. I have two in the conservatory for the guinea pigs, one on the garage covering the driveway for obvious reasons, and one in the back garden, but that is purely for watching the large number of animals that come through. Story 82. I have one in my living room. It is connected to my security system. It has a metal lens shutter that only opens if I control it or if the motion sensors detect movement in the house when the alarm is armed. Story 83. My husband got them for me when our older dog developed seizures. It gives me peace of mind to be able to check on my animals when we are not home. The default setting is off and we only turn them on when we are going to be gone. Story 84. Yes. When I am in my kitchen, sometimes I want to see what is going on in my living room, or vice versa. Story 85. Only when needed. Like when my wife goes bowling, and I just get our child off to bed and want to relax by the fire pit in the backyard. I can see if he opens his door down the hall and listen for any noises. I just leave the stream live for as long as I am down there. Story 86. I mean, our houses are already full of microphones listening to us. Why not cameras too? We need to provide data for the algorithm properly. Story 87. I have one pointed at my automatic litter box, which helps me know if it is functioning properly. It is very temperamental, but when it works, it is amazing. It is also right in the path of the back door. I cannot have an outside camera in the backyard because the plants and trees all sway in the breeze, and the batteries would die out in a week. So inside the door is better. Story 88. I don't want cameras for the bedrooms, but I definitely wouldn't mind them for the living room and kitchen. I have pets and teenage boys who sometimes do reckless things. I have house sitters who come by when we're away to check on the pets and water plants. It would also be reassuring to have cameras that monitor both entry doors in case someone tries to break in. I have cameras outside, but after seeing many videos of law enforcement officers and criminals tampering with outdoor cameras, I would feel safer having a camera inside that cannot be tampered with. The caveat is that we use a closed-loop system instead of paying for a cloud-based subscription. I don't want a company spying on me when I'm just trying to protect my home. Story 89. I have an escape artist for a dog. I need cameras to figure out how he was able to pull off his stunts without opposable thumbs. Baby gates and locks are just style points for him, a welcome challenge. They also help me keep an eye on things when I am away for work or vacation. They are never on when I am home. I simply unplug the USB power cord. Story 90. I have a security camera in my living room, positioned to face directly the door in case someone tries to break in. Story 91. I have a camera in my living room to check on my dogs during the day, and while my children are on summer break to make sure they are not doing anything unsafe with their friends while I am at work. Story 92. We have an autistic son who has sleep issues and is prone to elopement, which is the special needs term for taking off on some mission in his head without telling anyone. We have cameras strategically placed indoors and outdoors to track where he came from, where he went, and what he was doing before he left the house. This behavior is much less common now as he is getting older, so I am considering reducing the number of cameras. However, he still occasionally acts impulsively. It is also useful to check if the children are awake and in the common rooms on time during the school year. Story 93. We have one camera in the living room and one in the family room to keep an eye on the dogs and check on the parrots when we are away. We got them when we got the youngest puppy because she hated the crate and kept breaking it to get out. Years later, I remembered we had the camera, and guess who got grounded? As a general rule, we do not check the cameras unless no one is home or something has happened and we need to check. Our system will alert us if it hears glass breaking or an alarm going off, which is nice to have. Story 94. I have cameras in my house so we can look in on our boys, our 3 cats, when we are out of town. It is only the 2 of us plus them. Story 95. I had a coworker who would randomly check on his wife using their living room camera. He did this during work hours while working at an event for a client and made a mistake because of it. Story 96. Why not? I live in a city. We lived in a less nice area last year, but even though we moved to a really nice spot, you never know. I have a few cameras for main areas. I have all of them on kill switches to be more cautious so hackers cannot easily turn them on or off. We only turn them on when we leave for a while or go on vacation. They are also great for pet watching when you have to leave home. Story 97. We live in a ground floor apartment with a small yard closed off by an easily jumpable fence that faces the road. We do not live in a bad neighborhood, but the camera will turn on if one of the windows gets broken or is jimmied open. It is just for peace of mind. Story 98. Yes, we have one in the sitting room and kitchen. It is handy for keeping an eye on our pets and also for general security, as it notifies our phones if it senses motion. Story 99. My in-laws installed security cameras in their living room and bedroom, kitchen, and likely the garage, as well as around the outside of their house. They did this right before the father-in-law went on a 3-month cross-country road trip with their oldest son and daughter-in-law. The mother-in-law did not want to be away from home for that long, so they installed the cameras for her protection. If she fell, someone broke in, or an emergency occurred, he would be notified and could call for help and return home as soon as possible. Fortunately, nothing happened. I do not begrudge anyone for having security cameras inside their home if it makes them feel safe and provides potential security footage if a crime occurs. I would do the same if I thought my house and belongings were worth the effort. Story 100. I have cameras for my cat, but they never record. They are just for me, the enthusiastic cat owner, to watch her when I'm not home. Story 101. We have cameras in our living room and outside, looking out our front and rear windows. The living room camera faces the front door. We got it when our previous dog was dying but kept it because there are some dangerous people living nearby who have caused problems for our neighbors. The outdoor cameras are because my car has been hit 5 times in our parking lot over 6 years. We want to make sure we know what is happening. Story 102. I used to work with a man who had cameras all over his house. He kept a window open on his computer at work to monitor the house. One time, I was at his desk talking with him about a project, and on the screen, his daughter went into the kitchen to get a cookie. He stopped our conversation, pressed a button on the screen, and yelled at his daughter for eating cookies when she knew she was not supposed to. I felt really bad for her. That man was unkind. Story 103. I stayed for a couple of weeks with a friend while I was trying to find a place to live. She had cameras in the house that she did not tell me about. Not cool. Story 104. We have cameras at the front door, backyard, driveway, both children's bedrooms, and their playroom. We also have one under the stairs where they have a small play closet they love. This allows us to see what they are doing. Our cameras are mostly used to watch our children. In our old house, we had one in the living room to watch our puppy. After she grew up, we never removed it. We did capture some funny videos from parties, though. Story 105. I used to have cameras in all our common areas. My stepson was developmentally delayed and, as he became a teenager, became increasingly violent and aggressive towards me, his mother, his biological younger sister, and his younger step-siblings. His teacher refused to believe his outbursts and reported me to Child Protective Services for suspected abuse. I have never abused any of my children. Child Protective Services interviewed everyone, and nothing was substantiated. After that, we installed cameras. He has since moved out, and I am told he is doing better. I recently purchased a different house and did not feel the need to keep cameras in the common areas. Story 106. The most common reasons to put cameras in shared interior spaces are to keep an eye on your children or pets, to monitor if someone with access is stealing, or to ensure that someone with access is following the rules. Essentially, you want to check on your children, suspect that your babysitter might be stealing from you, or believe your babysitter is allowing unauthorized visitors. Interior security cameras are relatively uncommon, and there is usually a specific reason when they are installed. Story 107. I have 5 plus a Ring camera and doorbell, all facing doors and windows. I live in a difficult part of town and live alone. So yes, it helps me sleep at night knowing if there is a break-in, the police will have a clear image of the perpetrators. I also have one in the cat's room to make sure she is safe when I am away. Edit to add. Everyone who comes over knows that I have cameras set up. Story 108. There are many valid uses for cameras inside your house, such as deterring break-ins and providing video evidence if a break-in occurs, monitoring children and pets in different rooms, especially in large homes or when children have special needs, caring for elderly family members who need attention but are not ready for a care facility, or integrating cameras into a smart home system for motion detection. A particularly important use is in cases of domestic violence. Cameras can provide proof and help individuals escape abusive situations. Before using cameras inside your home, consider this. In some states, recording someone without their knowledge is illegal. In others, recording without audio is allowed without the person's knowledge. Cameras can cause discomfort for household members. Placing cameras in bedrooms is legal in many places if the cameras are visible and occupants are aware they are being recorded. However, recording private activities can cause discomfort, loss of trust, psychological harm, and children deserve privacy. The biggest issue arises with video camera systems that transmit over the internet, often called Internet Protocol cameras. These data signals can be intercepted by third parties. Many companies have stored footage longer than stated and have shared private footage with third parties and law enforcement without a warrant. In summary, indoor cameras have valid uses but also pose potential risks. Internet cameras require advanced security measures, as their signals can be intercepted, compromising your privacy. Story 109. I have about 13 cameras inside and outside my house. The outside cameras provide security and peace of mind. I have cars, golf carts, and an RV parked outside. If I am in my office and my children, dog, or someone is at my front door, I want to be able to see. If a group of kids are playing outside or people are in the pool, I want to be able to see. I also like being able to play back footage if something happens. Inside, I do not have cameras in any private areas, such as bedrooms. They are located in the living room, kitchen, laundry room, and kids' playroom for the same reasons as above. We may go to Disney or Universal for a day or night, and I like to monitor my house. If we left the dog at home, I want to see if the person watching the dog came over. When we go on vacation, I like to check the condition of my yard or pool. Since I am in Florida, when we had to evacuate twice last year, I could watch my cameras until the power inevitably went out. I am not constantly watching any of the cameras. I may not look at most of them for over a week. The inside cameras are mostly used when we are not home, and the outside cameras are for nighttime monitoring and reviewing events. Story 110. I have 2 Wi-Fi cameras in the house and plan to get another 2. My wife and I use them when we go away to check that the cats are fine. We have automatic litter boxes and 2 automatic pet feeders, both connected to the Wi-Fi. I set the cameras up so I can check that the cats have food and are doing well. We have external security cameras connected to a digital video recorder for security. The internal cameras are just for monitoring the cats. I check them sometimes when I am at work to see if the cats are up to anything. Occasionally, I notice they do not have food, so I feed them a little extra. Story 111. 1. To keep track of pets. If the police ever forcefully enter your home, it may be the only evidence you have to defend yourself. Story 112. 2 years ago, my family and I had our house broken into twice in a single month. The police did not catch the intruders due to a lack of leads. As a result, my dad decided to install security cameras, placing 1 in the living room and 2 outside near obvious entry points, but none inside the rooms to avoid discomfort. Additionally, we hired a guard to patrol the garden when we are out during the day, in case this happens again. Story 113. So far, ours has helped us successfully recover a missing remote control, a charging cable, and a work pin the cat knocked off a counter and hockey pucked across the room. Invaluable when you do need it. Story 114. Yes, usually people record to watch a relative, monitor the babysitter, observe their pets, or because they are paranoid. Recording is generally legal as long as it is not done in a bedroom or bathroom. Laws vary from state to state. Story 115. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I lose things all the time and I cannot always see where I put them. Also, if there are important conversations, I can have a record of them, such as roommates making payment arrangements or failing to do their part of the housework. However, only the person who lives in the room should have access to that camera. So, I have my camera and the living room roommate has his camera and living room. Story 116. With Wi-Fi cameras, such as Ring and similar devices, being jammed, stolen, or destroyed by porch pirates and neighbors, a hardwired internal camera is almost a necessity nowadays. In a notable case a few years ago, deputies responded to a 911 call for assistance with a mental health issue. Officers' reports described one version of events, while the camera footage revealed another. The officers even criticized the caller for explaining the mental health concerns about the individual they called about. Story 117. We got 1 camera to monitor our 2 new rescue cats to make sure they were okay. We got another camera to monitor the other 3 cats who live separately because they do not get along with the 2 new cats. This is mainly for when we stay away overnight. When I check the kitchen camera, I usually see the cats snuggled up to my wife, who is using her vape more often than usual. Story 118. I have a camera to watch my dog and to see inside when I was single and away for a month at a time every other month working as a merchant mariner. They are automatically deactivated when the alarm system is not on. Story 119. I foster cats and have a security camera in the foster room to monitor them when we have neonates or young kittens. It helps me check on them during the day and identify the cause of any unusual night noises without getting out of bed and disturbing them. Story 120. My mom has multiple cameras inside the house. It started because Grandma lived with her. Grandma began declining, so they installed cameras. They also had to get home healthcare workers because she has dementia and is a fall risk. She would go outside to the mailbox and didn't want to come back inside, and sometimes she fell and was on the floor all day. There was also the concern of having strangers in the home. Some people are not morally sound, and Grandma couldn't remember what happened each day. The cameras helped not only keep her safe but also protected the staff from false accusations. Now she is in a nursing home, and the cameras are still there, mainly for peace of mind. Story 121. I have them in all rooms except bedrooms and bathrooms. I have a kill switch, so if I am home or have people over, I shut them down. They are only ever on when I am not home or asleep. I had an attempted home invasion once and was almost charged because of it, so in my opinion, it is mandatory. Story 122. I have them outside due to someone attempting to burn my house down. I am not in a situation where I need them inside. Story 123. I use it to keep an eye on my dogs while we are out. Otherwise, it stays off and pointed at the wall. Story 124. People experience them because unusual events have occurred while they were not at home, items have gone missing, and similar incidents. Story 125. To watch the dogs and check what the strange noise was in the middle of the night without going outside. Story 126. I got a 2-pack of them when I was going on a trip. I wanted to know if anyone came into my apartment without notice. We also had a slow leak in the ceiling that I wanted to keep an eye on, but maintenance could not come before we left. They are put away for now. Story 127. I have cameras in every room and hallway except the bathroom because I want to be able to watch my toddler from anywhere in the house. Story 128. We had them at my grandmother's house because the 24-hour care was not doing their job, and we needed to prove it. Story 129. I bought some when I lived in my last apartment so I could keep an eye on the outside. Now that I live in a safer place, I use them to watch the inside and keep an eye on my cats if I am gone for a while. Story 130. People broke into our home and stole all my inherited grandmother's jewelry. Now we have cameras with an alarm system. Apparently, it is necessary. Story 131. We had a few incidents because my elderly in-laws were prone to having physical issues from time to time. As the only caregivers, my ex-partner and I wanted to receive a notification if something happened. Story 132. I have a set that I put up when we go on vacation to keep track of our cat. They come down the minute we get back. Story 133. I have them outside my house and do not want them inside. That said, I had one operating while I was on vacation. I can understand the use case if someone has it to watch pets while they are out or to monitor family members who need supervision. One of my coworkers has access to the ones in his mother's house because she is at risk of falling. Story 134. I have one camera in my living room and kitchen, which is an open area that covers both the front and back doors. I also have one in the basement at the intersection of each door, positioned to look straight at my server. I want recording if someone enters who should not. It is also connected to my security system as a motion detector. It is local, with internet access done through a virtual private network except for alerting, which uses my alarm network to send notifications. It is also good to keep an eye on the kids when I am away, especially since there is a two-way intercom at the same time. It has been useful. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.